besides being considered two of the greatest artists of all time. Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney are powerful men who have amassed great fortunes. But have you ever stopped to think which one of them had the most luxurious life? In this video, you will see a fierce battle between Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. So let's fight! Before we get started, I challenge you. You have to click on subscribe and activate notifications, check the option all. But you have to do that in less than 5 seconds. You got it? And if you can, write in the comments #AllAboutSubscribe. Alright, let's get started. Farm. Both singers have owned beautiful ranches, but which one had the most luxurious farm? Starting with Paul McCartney. When he was married to Linda McCartney, Paul lived a good portion of his life with his family at High Park Farm, Kintyre, Scotland. Purchased in 1966, the property was a quiet, peaceful retreat for the singer to raise his family, away from the highlights. Leading a very simple life on this property that kept expanding until reaching over 1,000 acres of land, the artist enjoyed raising many animals, and it was during this time that he developed his support of veganism. However, after the unfortunate death of his wife Linda in 1998, Paul began to greatly reduce his visits to this amazing country estate. Michael Jackson is not far behind. Among his most famous expenses is his former ranch called Neverland, a giant 2,700-acre estate located in Santa Barbara, California. The name given to the place makes reference to Neverland, from the character Peter Pan, which goes to show Michael's will to make his childhood dreams come true. And the estate really lived up to its name, with it having a zoo, a private park, a railroad just for fun, 22 buildings with accommodations, which includes a giant main house with architecture worthy of a palace. To get an idea of the figures here, it is estimated that he had to pay about $2,500,000 a year just to maintain his employees who worked on the maintenance of the zoo and mini park. Another thing that also draws a lot of attention at this amazing ranch is the strong presence of nature, something Michael Jackson seemed to be very fond of. After the pop star's death, Neverland lay abandoned for years until it was sold for $22 million in cash to American billionaire Ron Burkle. Considering he owned a much larger ranch, Michael Jackson wins this round. Score 1 for him. Excessive luxuries. Both music stars didn't skimp on luxury items, but which one spent more? Paul McCartney, for example, makes a point of attending interviews and events very well dressed, and to complement his looks, Paul owns a designer watch. The model in question is a Patek Philippe Aquanaut, a sporty design accessory with a rubber bracelet, having only 1,000 limited units produced, which justifies its marked up price of $80,000. And it seems that the singer really likes this watch model, because he has another one with a green dial. Something McCartney also doesn't mind spending a lot of money on is chartered jets. The rock legend almost never travels on commercial planes. After all, he likes comfort and privacy. To get an idea of prices, depending on the model and size of the jet chosen, 1 hour of flight can cost up to $20,000. But Michael Jackson is not far behind. With his ranch, for example, he spent a lot of money buying decorations and statues. The entrance gate alone, for example, cost the singer $30,000. And one of his amazing purchases was the Oscar statue awarded to the winner of the 1939 Best Picture category, Gone with the Wind, paying $1,500,000 at the time. Per year, it is estimated that the star spent between $30 and $50 million in his very expensive lifestyle. Moreover, having a success never achieved by any other artist, it was to be expected that many fans and collectors would long to have some object that belonged to Michael Jackson's everyday life. And that is why some of the pop star's costumes and unique items have caused a stir at auctions, selling for very high prices. To get an idea, even the cast mold used to make his fangs in the Thriller clip was auctioned. His famous crystal glove, for example, was sold at auction in Texas, USA, for $190,000. His jacket used in the Thriller music clip, in turn, was sold 2 years after his death for an unbelievable $1,800,000. It is also believed that Michael never had to step foot on a commercial airplane. After all, he had the money to use private planes. Although it is unconfirmed, some sources speculate that he owned the Boeing 707-138 aircraft, which had its interior layout completely modified to suit his needs. It is a very rare airplane because only very few units were manufactured. At the time Michael Jackson used this aircraft for his tours, it is estimated that it was worth about $12 million. And for spending way more money than his opponent, Michael Jackson takes this round. Point for him. Cars. Both artists love to enjoy beautiful automobiles daily, but which of them has ever owned the most expensive garage? Starting with Michael Jackson, it is not known exactly how many vehicles were in its fleet, but some sources point out that they were stored in 5 large warehouses. One of the singer's most iconic vehicles was his 1990 Rolls-Royce Silver Spur 2 limousine, a model that can be found at auctions for $50,000. He also had a 1999 Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph, a classic and sophisticated vehicle, whose insides were adorned with 24-karat gold and crystals. Michael Jackson also owned a 1985 Mercedes-Benz 500, a vehicle that after his death was auctioned off to one of his fans in 2009 for $108,000. As early as 1979, he acquired a Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph, a historic vehicle that was customized and used by Michael on special occasions. This is one of the singer's most expensive cars, valued at around $200,000. On another occasion, during a commercial, the star drove a 1987 Ferrari Testarossa, an exclusive car that was offered for sale for $800,000. Other cars that have gone through the King of Pop's garage are a 1998 Lincoln Town Car, a 1954 Cadillac Fleetwood, a 2001 Harley-Davidson police motorcycle, a 1988 GMC Jimmy, among many others. Meanwhile, some of the cars that have passed through Paul McCartney's garage are a $30,000 Ford Consul Classic 315, a $33,000 Ford Bronco 198, a $35,000 Land Rover Series I-86 station wagon from 1955-inch, his favorite, a $37,000 Chevrolet C5 Corvette, a $65,000 1973 Rolls-Royce Corniche, a $85,000 Austin Healey 3000 from 1966, a $130,000 Lexus LS 600H, a $180,000 Lamborghini S2 Espada 1972, a Mini Cooper from 1965 that was auctioned off for $235,000. Raising the values up even higher, Paul McCartney owned a historic Lamborghini 400 GT from 1967 that was sold off at auction for $400,000. But, without a doubt, the most iconic car that passed through the singer's garage was his Aston Martin DB5 from 1964, and it was inside this car that Paul wrote the song Hey Jude. To give you an idea of how precious this car is, it sold at an auction in 2017 for an impressive $1,300,000. Considering Paul has been spotted with more expensive vehicles, he wins this round. Apartment in New York. Both singers also like to invest in vertical properties, but who has ever owned the most luxurious apartment? Michael Jackson, for example, once lived in Trump Tower on Manhattan's famous and expensive Fifth Avenue. With a breathtaking view of Central Park, the apartment was the artist's home after he secretly married Lisa Marie Presley. The 4-bedroom property, which already has an exquisite modern architecture, has been remodeled, leaving it in Michael's taste. The building, which belongs to Donald Trump, was rented in the 1990s for 10 months by the singer for the princely sum of $110,000 a month. And it seems that the place is in great demand by other magnates, seeing as soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo bought an apartment there on the 23rd floor for $18,500,000. Paul McCartney also once owned a triplex apartment located on Manhattan's prime Fifth Avenue, overlooking Central Park. The 3,500 square foot residence is filled with floor-to-ceiling windows which allows for lush landscaping. The apartment has a classic and retro architecture and features colorful wallpapers, plus lots of wooden furniture. The area is spread over 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. It is known that McCartney bought this property in 2015 for $15,500,000, but after holding onto the property for quite a while, he ended up selling it at a loss. And for owning his apartment, Paul McCartney wins this round. Point for him. Real estate portfolio. Both music stars love to live in lovely properties, but which one had the most valuable real estate portfolio? Michael Jackson, for example, owned other properties across the United States. One of his most iconic houses is nicknamed the Thriller Villa and sits on a 1.7-acre plot of land in Las Vegas. The Spanish Mediterranean-style residence is quite unique and has 24,700 square feet of floor area. The main entrance reveals a beautiful sunlit foyer with custom wood ceiling design and a hand-painted fireplace. The main living room is quite large, with another fireplace and a beautiful central chandelier, as well as many sofas and armchairs in various rooms. Perhaps the most impressive feature is the two-story, 74-seat medieval chapel. The ceiling is hand-painted sky art complete with a glorious crown of thorn chandelier and traditional red curtains that add the perfect touch to this extraordinary room. Michael Jackson's suite is very spacious, with some sofa spaces. The main bathroom is made of stone and it has 3 sinks and a dressing table. The house also has a bar area, a kitchen with green tiles, and a giant backyard with several gardens. In 2016, the star's former villa was put up for sale for $9,500,000. Another official mansion that the King of Pop lived in with his family is located in Encino and was bought by his father, situated in the district where the singer was born in Los Angeles. According to some sources, this is the residence where Michael Jackson's daughter Paris Jackson currently lives by herself. The mansion where the King of Pop died is a 17,100 square foot rental property located in the Holmby Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles. Surrounded by a lot of greenery, which guaranteed the singer's privacy, the exquisite classical architecture house was rented for no less than $100,000 a month, but some sources claim that Michael Jackson was considering buying it. And after being available to buyers for a few years, it was finally sold in 2012 for $18 million. Already with his professional success, Paul McCartney can invest and maintain a large real estate portfolio. So let's look back at some of the properties he has lived in. From 1955 until the early 1960s, when he was between the ages of 13 and 22, McCartney lived in a 2-story row house. It was there that he and his Beatles bandmate John Lennon wrote many of the songs that became some of the band's biggest hits. 5 years later, the singer bought a 3-story property in St. John's Wood, London. The venue was even where Paul held the reception for his wedding to Nancy Shevell. At the time, he paid £40,000 on the house, but recently, a neighboring property went on sale for £16,500,000, suggesting that since then the value of the area has skyrocketed. Currently, the singer still owns a few properties located in England, including his giant 150-acre estate called Blossomwood Farm, located in the village of Peasmarsh in East Sussex County. But Paul has also acquired real estate elsewhere. He once had a 2-acre estate including a French-style home located in Hollywood Hills, California. Built in 1930, the 4,700 square foot residence cost $4 million out of Paul's pockets at the time of purchase, but today the property is probably worth double that amount. In this same region, many sources speculate that the artist once lived in an incredible mansion that was also home to other celebrities, such as Madonna. Built in the early 1940s, the 15,000 square foot residence sits on a lot of nearly 1.5 acres. The architectural landscape features a vast wooded backyard involving lush gardens, stone walkways, and beautiful views. The main door opens into the hallway, which leads into a cozy living room with a grand piano and ceilings with the visible wood structures that provide a rustic design. The main house is spacious and offers 2 master suites and 3 family bedrooms, as well as 3 bathrooms and 7 sinks. For entertainment, the property offers a movie theater with a huge screen, a 2-lane vintage bowling alley, a complete game room, a well-illuminated tennis court, and an area for practicing golf. In order to have fun on the warmer days, there is a swimming pool and a spa available to the residents. Still outside, there is an elegant and imposing dining area, with its stone patio and impressive Roman-inspired columns, creating a heavenly ambience reminiscent of a luxury hotel. In addition, there is a guest house with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in order to accommodate visitors in comfort. It is not known for sure if Paul McCartney bought or rented this beautiful property, but what is known is that the rent is $100,000 and the house is worth approximately $23 million. And for owning such an impressive real estate portfolio, Paul McCartney wins this round. Net worth. As 2 successful artists, there's no doubt they've made a lot of money throughout their careers, but who has amassed the most significant net worth? During his lifetime, Michael Jackson built an empire that is unimaginable to most people. With his breathtaking performance and timbre, the singer became an idol of global reach. No wonder that his History World Tour in 1996 brought together 4,500,000 fans, playing shows in 35 countries on 5 continents and earning $165 million. However, with his record sales, Michael Jackson broke records for having the world's best-selling album, Thriller, with it having sold 121 million copies. And while many believe the star made a fortune from his concerts and record sales alone, Michael Jackson had other sources of income. According to Forbes magazine, one of the singer's biggest investments wasn't even on his own songs. That's because he bought, in 1985, a large catalog of copyrights of other great artists, including 250 songs by the Beatles. At the time, he paid $47,500,000, and 10 years later he sold half of those rights to a company for $115 million. Not to mention the income that this venture would give him every year as the catalog of songs continued to grow. Until in 2016, after the singer's death, his heirs and managers sold half of that music portfolio for $750 million. In other words, Michael knew how to invest and how to make net worth multiply. According to Forbes, before his death, the artist had made billions of dollars, adjusting for inflation. However, with so many expenses and exorbitant spending from a life full of luxuries, he ended up leaving debts. But since Michael's legacy is gigantic, to this day his music is remembered, played, and sold. And all this money collected after his death is managed by a team that owns the rights to the singer. Thus, the singer's accounts could easily be recovered. One of the ways of monetizing his songs is digitally. On the streaming platform Spotify alone, for example, the King of Pop reaches more than 34 million plays in a month, making an approximate revenue of $136,000. On YouTube, Michael Jackson has over 27 million subscribers and receives more than 150 million views each month. In all, the trusteeship of Michael Jackson's estate has made $2,100 million from the singer's music rights as well as from re-releases and concerts in his honor since his death in 2009. In total, it is estimated that the King of Pop has earned, from his lifetime to the present day, about $4,100 million. Paul McCartney, meanwhile, is among the wealthiest rock stars in history, having spent more than 60 years in a thriving career selling millions of records and entertaining crowds at concerts. While still a member of the Beatles, the artist achieved 6 gold records and sold over 100 million singles. In the years that he tours extensively, Paul easily earns $70 million on his own. To give you an idea, the Beatles co-founder has grossed just over $100 million from solo shows in 2019, according to Forbes magazine. But in addition to that source of income, he earns tens of millions a year in royalties and licensing fees. These fees are earned both from his own music and from a valuable portfolio of other artists' royalties through his record label, MPL Communications. This company holds the copyright to songs by singers like Buddy Holly, Carl Perkins, and many others. Not to mention the money he has already received for the various films and documentaries about the trajectory of the Beatles and his life. Currently, at the age of 80, Paul McCartney has an estimated net worth of $1,280 million and is considered the richest musician in the world. And the fact that Paul amassed an even greater fortune during his lifetime, he wins this round. At the end of this fight, we had 2 points for Michael Jackson versus 4 points for Paul McCartney, being him the champion of this battle. But if you believe that there are still other arguments to defend one of the two, write down your best justification. Hey, you like the video? So don't forget about leave your like and comment, and tell some suggestions of another videos, and hopefully we gonna do it. All about channel Dios to satisfy your curiosity.